It's Ask the Expert. Brenda Hollingsworth is here from OJ Hollingsworth, and she's ready for your questions. 613-789-6559, extension 2803. Ottawa.morning at ctv.ca. Great way to do it is by email or on Facebook, CTV Ottawa Morning Live. Brenda, we're talking about eyewitnesses and being a good eyewitness to an event, whether there is fault or not. Sometimes you'll be called upon to talk about what you saw, which sounds like a simple thing, but it isn't exactly. If something you saw was quite traumatic, if someone was badly injured, a car accident, for instance, sometimes the mind can go into shock over seeing what it's seen, right?
Right, and you can feel badly for the victims of the accident and want to help, and sometimes that translates into embellishment or filling in gaps that you didn't actually see.
Okay, so what do I need to be remembered? Let's paint a picture here that is hypothetical. Someone has blown a red light and there's a collision at the intersection.
Right.
Okay? No idea if there's injuries or not. We won't worry about that. I've seen it. Police are on the scene. They're asking for people to give statements. I do. What are the things that I need to do right after that accident occurred?
So when you're giving the statement to the police officer, it's really important that you only say what you saw.
Okay.
So don't fill in any gaps.
And let's define that, like filling in gaps, trying to say why something happened.
Exactly. So here's an example. I had an accident where I didn't have an accident. I had a client who had an accident where he pulled into a gas station and then was coming out of the gas station, and there was a collision as he came out. The person who, he was stopped at a red light when he turned into the gas station. Okay. The person behind him gave a statement that my client must have been going into the gas station to cut the red light because he didn't get gas.
Right.
And so that became the theme of the case, was he cutting the red light, which frankly doesn't have anything to do with the accident.
Right.
But it became the message of the case.
Okay.
And really, that person has no idea why my guy went in there, why he didn't get gas.
Yeah, trying to psychologically figure out someone's, their motivation is not your job. Your job is to say, here's what happened exactly.
Right, so the CSI factor.
Yeah.
You don't want to get caught up in
That's interesting,
that.
And I wonder if those shows actually have an effect.
Well, I'm sure they do. And I mean, people want to know, why did that guy do that? People want to know that. So that shouldn't be part of your statement. What you saw should be part of your statement. Your job,
the defense job, or the defense job and the court itself, their job is to figure out from facts what happened, right?
Exactly. So we need facts. So, things like, the light was red. If you're asked how long it was red, I'll have people say 5 minutes. Well, there's no way.
There's no red light.
There's no way the red light was 5 minutes.
Right.
So if you can't estimate time, and it's really hard to estimate time, don't estimate, right? If you don't know or you can't do it, don't do it.
So I would say in that case, I'm not sure, but I know it was red when the car went into the intersection.
Right, and you can say, I know that I had come to a complete stop and I had been at a complete stop for a period of time, but I can't say in terms of seconds or minutes. There are things you can say to describe the period of time without actually giving an actual number of seconds, because those are always wrong.
Okay, so one of the things I think when you talk about violent crime, people are very, very nervous about getting on the stand for many, many reasons. However, when it comes to an accident, people are still afraid, and I think some of that might have to do with being up in front of people. Public speaking in any way is one of the number one fears of people.
Sure.
There are a lot of reasons people shy away from being a witness, right?
Right, so if you're called to be a witness at trial, that is something that a lot of people dread. First of all, just remember, if you're asked to give a statement at an accident scene, the chance that you're going to be called to a stand eventually is extremely small.
Right.
Like very, 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 very small. Especially if you give a good statement, because things will get resolved if you give a good statement.
Right, I understand.
Right? Yeah. But let's say you are on the stand. It isn't like public speaking. People think they're going to be standing there presenting to a courtroom, a big courtroom full of people. Not a lot of people are in traffic court.
Right.
And if they are, they're not actually listening to the witnesses. They're worried about their own case, which is coming up next.
Gotcha.
In civil court, where we might decide a personal injury case, there's basically no audience.
Right.
There's potentially a jury and a judge, but it's a lot more like a conversation than like a speech. So that's one thing.
Right.
The number one, well, guess what the number one rule is for a witness? I put you on the spot. I'm going to judge your moral fiber here.
To tell the truth.
You got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I give you a hint. Yeah, the number one thing is tell the truth.
Of course.
And as long as you tell the truth, nobody can fault you.
Okay.
If you say you don't know something you don't know, you're a hero, right? That's what we need people to do, is talk about what they've specifically seen and not to talk about what they haven't seen.
A hard thing when you're talking about human nature, no question about
It
that.
is.
More to come with Brenda Hollingsworth from Auger Hollingsworth. It's Ask the Expert, and you can get your question in if you have a question. It doesn't have to be related necessarily to being a witness. Any question about personal injury, 789-6559, extension 2803. Ottawa.morning@ctv.ca is the email, or Facebook us. Here's where to find Auger Hollingsworth. 1443 Woodruff Avenue. The phone number is the most handy, 613-233-4LAW. That's an easy one. Or askbrenda.ca. That's where you get started if you've been involved in an accident of any kind, whether it be a vehicular or just a slip and fall. We're back in a moment. That's the Expert.